Great rising. Great rising. Hope everybody's having a beautiful day so far. It is early in the rising, and I am getting ready to come before you with some updates. Today is Tuesday check-in. I'm usually on the scale. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about where we're going, what we're doing, what's working, what's not working. So tap on in. Tap on in. Let me see if I can get some lighting on the subject over here. Let's get some lighting on the subject over here. See if that will help the situation a little bit. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day so far. If you tap it in with me, drop me a purple heart in the chat. Let me know you're here with me. Give me a little great rising. Say hello. Anything. I'm here for it. Let's go. Let's see if this helps a little bit. Just put a little light on the subject here. How this go? Over here. Oh, gracious. All right, I'm back, y'all. Okay. So, here we go. I'll go ahead and sat down. Great rising, great rising, great rising. All right, so I'm gonna get into it because I don't like, when I get on somebody's live or on the replay and they got all this extra going on. I did try to be set up, but I want to get a little light. See if, lighting it up in here would make a difference. However, this is what we get ready to talk about today, y'all. So, as everyone knows, I am on a journey. It's called Project 199, and I am, let me sit back and chill. There we go. All right. It's called Project 199, and how it works is that I am on a release journey. I'm on the journey to releasing those things that no longer serve me. So we're talking about the release of not just weight and the number on the scale, hence why this is not a weigh-in today. We're going to talk about that too. We're going to tap into it. I made some notes because I didn't want to miss anything when I come in here to tell you, what's been going on. So last week I didn't check in with you guys, right? I did a post letting you know that something came up and I was unable to make it. And unfortunately, fortunately, I was able to release 0.1 pounds, okay? So let's get the numbers off the scale out the way up front and keep it moving, right? So I was able to release 0.1 pounds in that process of that 1 week. This is now week number 6, I want to say. Let's see, that was week 5. Yeah, this is week 6. So we are on week 6. In week 6, I did get on the scale, and I am at a plus number. But what I did realize is, and I'm going to stand up for you really quickly, is that the inches are coming off of the waist. The inches are coming off the arm. I've had situations where I got so stuck on the number on the scale that, realizing that I'm really wanting, what people really want to do when they release weight is that they want to look good in their clothes. That's most times what people do when they release in weight. But this is more than just a weight release. This is more than just releasing weight on a scale, okay? And the reason I say that is because a journey like this is spiritual. Weight loss journeys are spiritual, okay? So that's first and foremost. And for me, that's what this is. I'm being very transparent. I'm showing up weekly to be transparent and let you know where I'm at, what I'm doing, how it's turning out, what it's looking like, and how I feel, right? So at this point, how I'm feeling in this situation is I'm actually encouraged, right? I'm encouraged. Peace and love. Welcome in, Monique. And I'm very encouraged in this process that I'm in. And the reason I'm so encouraged is because I definitely see that I have some work to do. And a lot of times when we see that we have something in front of us that we got to do, we don't really, we don't get that excited about it. But I'm excited because I'm seeing, I'm getting clarity, right? That's one thing you get when you are on a spiritual journey is clarity. Well, the spiritual journey that I'm on is also my release journey, which is also combined in the releasing of the weight. So it all goes together. It's one big thing. Peace and love. How are you? Real odds. Thank you for being here. So what I was saying is that a spiritual journey is what this is. It's really more than just weight loss. And when we start to see that we are on a journey, you will realize this. Okay, so that was the first thing. Because when you have a food addiction, meaning now some people don't even realize that they have a food addiction, right? They don't realize that that's what that is. They don't know that they have an addiction to food. What that looks like for me is food addiction. What food addiction looks like to me is always turning back to that thing that once got me in the situation or being in a place that I didn't desire to be, but it fixed the fix at the time, right? So looking at food addiction is something that you go to. Some people call it emotional eating. Some people call it, they have all different kinds of names. At the end of the day, it's an addiction, right? People binge eat. People do all kinds of things when it comes down to food. And then we have to learn to readdress what we define as food also, right? So food is not definitely what we think it to be, right? So we think food is fried chicken sandwich or, these, fast food restaurants. That's food. When food really is definitely, food is your medicine. And so you should allow your food to be your medicine and your medicine to be your food. That's the key. When you start to reprogram your mind to realize that those things cannot possibly be your medicine, then you will realize that you should not be putting those things into your body. Peace and love. Welcome into the live. So this is where I'm at, right? When it comes to my journey. Right now, I'm at some realizations of some things that allow me to rethink things, to reprogram my mind in that situation. But why is it that we have to go into this process here too? You got to realize when you realize and accept that you have this addiction to food, to the thing that quote unquote is called food, when really it's a chemical response, because the foods are full of chemicals, which is also like a drug. And this is what keeps us coming back and keeps us coming back and repeating the same processes, right? So look at this. When I realized that my spiritual process, I told you I made notes because I had to stay on point because I had so many things come to me in my download and I didn't want to lose it. All right, so in this spiritual process, I knew that I was becoming, that my process will get me to becoming the things that I am supposed to be. Not that I even desire to be, that I am supposed to be. We all come to this plane, this earth plane, to this world for a reason and a purpose. And I know in order for me to show up like I know that I'm supposed to show up, I got to do the work, but I got to be transparent in the work that I'm doing. Okay. So I know I'm in the process of becoming. So I had to, these are the things that I did. I have done. I've changed the way I eat. I changed the way I speak. I changed the things that I um, put into my body. I also changed the things that I drink. So like thank you, Real Odds. I appreciate you, brother. I changed not only the things that I eat and the way I speak and the things that I drink, I put down sugar, right? Because sugar is something that is a drug by itself, right? So that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day, right? That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So I put the sugar down. I changed the way I drink. I changed the way I think based on rearranging my thought process on how this is supposed to look, right? I started consuming more water to hydrate myself, educating myself on what would hydrate me, realizing that water is not straight water out of the faucet is not hydration. It doesn't have a hydrating factor, that you need to infuse your waters with actual fruits and vegetables to get that hydration that you need in your body in order to have all these working parts. Now I'm going to get to the part where why I'm not on the scale, right? All of this ties in together, explaining to you, okay? Now, you know, we gain habits as we grow. As we become on the spiritual journey, we already had these habits that we brought into this journey with us that we are trying to break. So we're trying to break these habits. I don't want to define them as bad. Why don't I want to define habits that are not good for you as bad? Because words have power. So as long as we have this concept that this is a bad habit, most times we draw into those things that are not good for us. So we're just going to call it a habit that we're trying to get rid of, right? So let's do that. All right. So now, wonder why we eat and we get addicted to the foods. It's because of our lifestyles. We live in a world where everything is stressful, or we live in a world where everything is bored. Welcome in, Eagle Boy. Thank you for being here. We live in a world where we think we're bored. I'm either bored, stressed, or, you know, and so our reward for having a long day, we're going to do 1, 2, or 3 things. One, we're going to say, you know what? I don't need to get up and do nothing. I'm going to chill because I had a long day. Second thing you're going to do is, oh, I'm going to have me a good meal tonight because I deserve it because I had a long day. Third thing you're going to do, I think I'm going to lay back and I'm going to have me a glass of wine. Or I'm going to lay back and I'm going to have me the best drink ever, whatever that is. All those things are things that we call ourselves rewarding ourselves for getting through a tough and stressful day. Now let's reprogram that thought process. Nisha! Nisha! Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you, sis. Oh, you've been on my mind so heavy. Welcome in, sis. Welcome in. Peace and love. Peace and love. Okay. So, now, the other thing about that is, yes, Nisha. The other thing about that, when it comes down to rewarding ourselves, now you need to ask yourself, why are you rewarding yourself for this thing? Why are you rewarding yourself in this way? Who said that a good meal was a reward? We got to think again. These words, someone told us that rewarding ourselves is something that we need to do in order to, and we picked food. We picked food, right? So food addiction is all about that. So now let's say you have this habit of late night binging, right? Which I've had. I thought I worked on it. And I thought I became, welcome back, Monique. She got a crown on. She got a crown on. I thought I worked on this, right? So it wasn't until right now that I'm going through a process. We continuously working. This is not something that you do one day and then the next day you come through and you say, I got it. I did it, or even if you work on it for a year. It doesn't make it perfect. It's an everyday thing, just like discipline. I talked to y'all about discipline last week. Discipline is a thing that we continuously do. You're always going to have to be disciplined in order to grow. There's no way for you to stop being disciplined. Yes, healthy habits are very, very important. And so when it came down to me and the binge eating, which I shared with y'all on my we listen but we don't judge video that I did, where I talked about how I would get up in the middle of the night, not get up, but I'll already be up late night. And I would go through the drive-thru at McDonald's. And I wouldn't just get a snack. This makes me so sad to tell y'all this, but it really does. It bothers me so much when I think back on this, y'all. It really, really bothers me. But I used to go and get in the line. Nobody knew. Not my family, not my children. Nobody knew I was doing this. I would get up and go leave the house. Leave my kids in the house. They weren't young, but you know what I'm saying. They was teenagers. But I would just leave. I wouldn't even tell them I was gone, to go run around the corner, up the street, down the block, to McDonald's, to their 24-hour drive-thru. I knew their late night menu. I knew what they were going to have available, because you know they don't have certain things at certain times. And I would go in there and I'd be like, you know what? I want the double. They would only have the McDoubles. I don't know if y'all remember that. I was like, give me two McDoubles, a large fry. And you know the shake machine was never up, so I always would get an orange drink, but I would always want a shake. I get a large orange drink. And I would go home and I would sit in my bed and I would eat it. I would eat it like it was, and I felt in the midst of eating that trash, because that's what it is. It's trash. It's garbage. I would feel good in that moment. And then after I did it, I beat myself up. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? You shouldn't have did that. You just, it wasn't even really worth it. And you go in this cycle. It keeps going on and on and on. It's a cycle. It just keeps going around in a circle. So when I tell you I've been doing work, understand I've been doing work. And this is why I'm here today, not on the scale, but talking to y'all right now, because I've been doing the work. The work doesn't always show up on that scale. And no, I did not release. I gained on that scale. But I just showed y'all a few moments ago that I measure, by how my clothes fit also. Things like that makes a difference as well. But it's not about the number on the scale. What you're trying to release really is not about the weight on your body. What you're trying to release is really about a mental situation you got going on that's causing you to do the things that you're doing to begin with. This is really what this is about. It's not about those things. And when we get that part through our mind and through our head, we will be able to move on to another place. I talk to y'all a lot about me doing shadow work, knowing that the addiction for food is almost probably the hardest addiction to break, because you can stop drinking alcohol. You can stop popping pills. You can stop drugs. You can stop cocaine, crack, whatever that is, heroin. You can stop. But you're always eating. You're eating in some kind of capacity. So if you have triggers, you have to know what these triggers are. But because it's more than about the food that's causing the addiction, it's more about what has caused you to eat in response to this addiction. What is making you do this? Have you tapped into that thing? So when I think about this, now I've never really went this deep into it with you. I'm always going deep within myself, okay? So, but I'm going to share some things. I told y'all I'm about being transparent with you. I'm going to let y'all know what I got going on. So, the reason I'm not on the scale today, I explained that already. But it's also because I reevaluated what I got going on. I realized that this shadow work that I do, it helps me in other places, but I have not truly focused this going within myself. I have not focused in on it when it came to how I respond to food. So now I'm looking at it totally different, right? This is my download, right? Because I told you I came to you with notes, okay? Let me see. The other thing I realized, okay, so we take that mechanism of eating, binge eating, whatever that thing is, that overeating, and we think we did something. Okay, well, I changed the way I eat, I changed the way I speak, I changed the way I think, I changed. You did all this changing, but did you actually think about what it is that what caused you to do it to begin with? Have you tapped into what caused you to do this to begin with? That's the question that I ask myself. And I would like for you to ask yourself, ask you, have you tapped into what has caused you to do this, right? Because what we tend to do is transfer one coping mechanism to another. So when you think that you have it down pat, like myself, where I felt I did, right? I think I thought I figured it out. I figured out what worked for me. I figured out what's happening. And then there's another layer that happens. And it triggers something. And then you fall back into those same habits. One thing I will say, I have not fallen into the habits of binge eating, late night binge eating, where I'm going out the house and going into, fast food restaurants, because one, I can't eat those things. Things that will be open late night, I cannot consume. Not even consciously or physically. I would be ill to all extent. But I do catch myself still late night eating, which is a coping mechanism. Watch this. Watch it. Because I don't do it like the way it looked like before, because I don't get up and I don't leave the house and I don't go to the drive-thru over 12 or 24 hours, what do? Instead, I'll go make me a smoothie, or I'll go make me some nice cream in my own, out of my own products here at home, and, spill those little nuts in there. I'll do that, right? Now I'm late night snacking. I saw Nisha put in there, she was like, that ice cream had her in a chokehold. Well, it's the sweets that can get you. But then I said to myself, oh, well, yeah, you have a sweet tooth. Go ahead, satisfy that sweet tooth, because if you don't satisfy it, then it's going to keep coming back to you, and you're going to want it. Well, for me, hold on 1 second. I don't want my drink to get cold. For me, I don't necessarily do the, go, like I said, go out, but I'm making it and I'm eating it. I'm eating the sweet. I'm eating it. I'm still eating sweets. It doesn't matter if I made it or I didn't make it. You get what I mean? It doesn't matter. Okay, so Kendi K says, if I need an evening snack, welcome in, Kendi K. If I need an evening snack, I'll have some 20 grams of Greek yogurt, apple slices, or ice cold protein shake. And that's excellent, Kendi K. Let me tell you something, because I'm happy for you to know what works for you and know what can trigger and not trigger for you. So this is what I'm talking about. For me, I have triggers. If I start eating at night, regardless of the thing that I eat, an apple or whatever, I know that that's going to trigger me to say, okay, tomorrow I can do the same thing, and I can do it. And then it begins to grow, because that's who I am. I know how I am, and I know my situation. And so when we begin to study ourselves, we know that the discipline has to be Number one, meaning that you just have to cut it. So if you don't cut it, where you know what works for you and don't work for you, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to keep falling back into this little cycle, going up and down on this roller coaster, just like this. I call it the roller coaster of life. We go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, and we keep spinning around in circles. But when is it that you're going to get dizzy enough that you're tired of being on that roller coaster and figure it out? We have to learn about self. We have to dive into what it is that it is about us, and that's going deep. What did caused you to be in this eating situation that you're in to begin with? What is it? What was it? What? Go back. It could be something from childhood. It could have been a factor that where you weren't allowed to have food. You weren't allowed to have food. Give me 1 second. You weren't allowed to have food. You had to ask permission to go in the refrigerator, or situations like that. You may have had those kind of situations in your lifetime, or something that was withheld from you, or your family went through a crisis in a time in your life where you didn't have food. And so when you got an opportunity to have food and have it on a regular basis, that you just wanted to always just continuously eat. These are factors. These are real things, and these are things that happen to people. For me, I continuously go back because I thought I reached that place, that I had tapped into that place. And when I realized I didn't, because I'm still on that roller coaster, up and down, up and down, up and down, then it's time to go back into deep research within myself, right? That's where I said, so we have to study and then acknowledge that there is something there, and then fix that thing. And then guess what? This food thing, we won't be using food as this crutch any longer. We will begin to use food and begin to reprogram our mind. Remember, food is our medicine, and medicine is our food. So if that's the case, every time you put something in your mouth to get ready to eat, if you have that thought process in your head and you say, well, is this medicine? What is this going to do for my body? Because it's really more about your thoughts and what you think about what you're putting in your body is how it's going to treat your body. Understand this. If you say that I'm going to only eat salad, but you also say that this salad is more nourishment than I ever would need. I'm going to be full. I'm going to be satiated. I'm going to have everything I need. It's going to be everything. It will be everything. But if you have the mindset when you go into eating that salad, that only this salad, dang, I wish I had some steak bites with it and some potatoes, then you have to still mind cleanse, okay? So you still need to do some resetting in your mind, because subconsciously you've been told, so subconsciously you're going to continue to say, potatoes are bad for me. Remember these words, potatoes are bad for me, they're fattening. You are saying that to you. You are saying that to you. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to rethink how we're talking to ourselves. But if you're eating those potatoes and you're like, oh, they're light, they're fluffy, your mindset, you put it in your mind, and you're not harming yourself. Because I remember when I was growing up, I know I'm jumping off subject real quick, but I remember when I was growing up, and I used to go to church, and I was told that what you don't know won't hurt you. No, wait a minute. I think I said it wrong. When you don't know, you can't be held accountable. That's what it was. When you don't know, you can't be held accountable. But when you do know, that's when accountability happens. This is exactly what I'm saying. So the more you know, the more accountable you are. So the more you know about a particular thing. So you're sitting here, we're having a conversation, and I'm telling you, if I'm sitting here and I'm giving you information and I'm feeding your subconscious mind with all of these things about what's good for you, what's not good for you, what's, foods that will, serve you, foods. When I'm doing that, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I never knew that. But now you know, or you have been informed, right? The next time that you do that thing that you said you didn't know about, it changes how it reacts to you. So, for instance, if you say, I didn't know eating red meat, it stayed in your system for months before it actually comes out of your system and it goes through all of your, your blood vessels. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that it can cause issues with your body. I didn't have any clue that red meat did that, right? What if you said this? But I told you this. You researched it after that and you saw and read it for yourself and found out this information. Now you know. But guess what? The next time you go to cut into that steak, in the back of your head, whether it's at the forefront of your mind or in your subconscious, it's there now. And now that steak is not going to do right for you. I know this sounds crazy to you. I know it does. For those who are going to understand what I'm saying, they're going to understand it. But I know it can sound crazy. But I've seen it. I've seen it happen, and it happened to me on so many levels. When I stopped eating seafood and I realized what shrimp and all of that was doing to my body, I'm speaking about me. When I realized what shrimp and things like that was doing to my body, I have hyperthyroidism. I didn't know that. I didn't know that the mercury in the fish and the iodine in the sea and all of those things were impacting me and causing me to get to the place where I was at with this hyperthyroidism, as it played a factor, right? It plays a factor, but I didn't know. So the whole time I'm eating, I'm like, oh, I grilled my shrimp, I did that, I ate that. But now that I know this, if I was to pick up some shrimp today and eat it, the first thing that's going to come to my mind is, why are you eating that? It's going to be impacting your thyroid. So then it can cause more harm than good, because we create the things, our thoughts create things that create more things. You ever heard about the placebo effect of healing, where people tell you, hey, if you hold this pen in your hand like this for 20 minutes a day, that you will have no more carpal tunnel in your arm. When really there's nothing behind it to verify this. Nothing behind it to verify holding the pen like this is going to clear up this carpal tunnel. But your mind says that this person told me that if I do this, it's going to heal my carpal tunnel. But you have to know that it's going to heal your carpal tunnel, or have some type of trust in the factor that it can do that. So you're sitting there holding this pen like this. It's that thought process of what everything, and that's including how you feed your body. Why are we feeding our body something that's not conducive to our health? If we say our food is thy medicine and our medicine is thy food, when we are preparing our meals and we are eating our meals, then now we'll be more conscious of what we're putting in our body. We will leave these chemical processed foods alone and then look more to whole foods. Even if you're a meat eater, eat the meat that it is. Don't eat the processed sausage. Process and make your own sausage. Do you follow what I'm saying? Because then you know what you put into it. So if you go buy chicken sausage off the shelf because of convenience is killing us, just so you know. I'm sorry, forgive me, YouTube. Convenience is unaliving us, okay? And that is because we are rather go to the store and pick up something off the shelf that's been processed for us than to process it ourselves. Y'all see me process and make things right here in my kitchen all the time. But I use whole ingredients and I know what I'm putting in it to begin with. I made my own mayo the other day on my show, right? I make my own ground, quote unquote, meat, right? I do this. It's a process of Whole Foods. It's processing it, making it into something else, but I'm doing it myself. Y'all can do the same thing. If you meat eaters, make your own ground sausages. Make your own food. You know, get whatever part of the hamburger it is. Get a grinder. Get that part of the damn animal. Excuse me. Get that part of the animal and put it in the grinder and grind it up yourself. It's just another process. That's what I'm saying. And then you'll know. And when you're subconsciously putting this in your mind, you can then say, "Hey, I'm eating something that is. I feel better about it because I did it." Same thing with me growing my groceries outside my window right here, right? I'm growing my own groceries in my backyard. I eat vegetables and fruits. They're growing right in my backyard. So when I get it out my backyard, I feel better even than when I get it off the shelf in the store because I don't even know what they put on it. I don't know the pesticides they use. I don't know where they got it from. I don't know if it's GMO. I don't know if they grew it in the dirt or they grew it in a lab. I just don't know. But I'm saying all this to say, when we reprogram our minds to satisfy a place, when we reprogram our mind to get to a place that will allow us to cleanse ourselves of the thoughts, the things that we've been taught over time, we can then grow past these addictions like for food. Right? We can then find out what it is that causes us, because it's a personal. When they say your journey, that's exactly it. You can't take nobody with you. It's your journey. It's your journey. Nobody else can come. It's your journey, just for you. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. There's one other thing. Okay. So now, I talked about that already. Closure, about closing out, finding closure, closing it out, and actually working inside what has been removed from you, working inside that thing, making it happen and work for you. Now, I wanted to share one other thing for you. I'm going a little over my 30 minutes that I wanted to do here today because I want to share this with you. Again, back to why I'm not on the scale. Hopefully people get to this point in the video on the replay because this is truly a thing. So recently, I've had off and on this pain in my hip. I did start doing research, right? I've been doing my own research. I'm always researching, just know that. So I did some research and I began based on my symptoms of what it felt like, because this has been off and on, off and on, off and on. And I'm going to show you exactly where this pain is in my hip area. So it goes like from here to here. And when I'm walking, sometimes it causes me to go out like that. You know what I mean? Or I'll have pain in it where it feels heavy for me to move it, right? Some pain in here. But it's not always consistent that this is happening, right? This is not a consistent thing that's happening with me. Now, because it comes and goes, I'm writing down everything that's happening when it's happening. I'm paying attention to what's going on at the time when it's taking place. And what I figured out and found out is, that inflammation is times when I'm eating certain types of foods with higher contents of salt, which actually causes me to be inflamed. I see small swelling around my ankles. I feel inflamed. I feel a little bit more bloated. This is when I feel this happening. And I say, okay, I need to reassess what I'm doing when this is happening so I can correct this and I can figure it out. Now, I know what anti-inflammatory foods are, right? So I don't take any medications when it comes down. I don't take anything outside of anything natural. I have to really be in a bad place to do that, okay? I mean a super bad place to do that. So instead, I'd rather figure out the natural way to do it because I just told you our food is thy medicine. So this is why I'm telling you this story now, okay? I wanted to tell you that part first. I wanted to tell you this now, right? So the food being thy medicine, I'm going to figure out what it is that I can put into my body and allow it to heal, right? So to allow it to reverse that thing. So doing my research, it came up that it could be, and I'm not putting any diagnosis on myself because I don't diagnose myself with anything, but it said it could be osteoarthritis in my hip, which is nothing. Arthritis is nothing but inflammation in your body. I don't know if you know that. But osteo means that you have a deterioration of bone in your joints, like in your bone joints, okay? So that's what that means. Now, what I realized is because it's an inflammation, I wanted to test, since I thought that's what it was, I wanted to test the theory. So I didn't do movement Monday, which was yesterday, because of this situation, because I was actually about to fall down as I walked. I was limping. I wasn't able to get around. I was like, no. And I haven't been able, it's been off and on throughout the past week. So I was like, not really feeling that. But the more I thought about it, I was like, when I fast, inflammation drops. But I also know what anti-inflammatory foods are. So watch this. So this is a tea that I made, as y'all can see. And I'm going to tell you what's in this tea, okay? It's a little warm. I might have to boil some more water and get it in there, but I'm probably going to drink some anyway. All right, so this here tea I had last night, and this is what's in it, okay? This tea I made previously from my juicing. I had pineapple, the skin of the pineapple, rosemary, ginger, turmeric, and cinnamon. That's what's in here. I want you to know all of those have, everything I just told you has a property in it, a healing property in it. Every last thing I told you. They're all natural, right? I made this myself. I boiled the tea and I poured it off. Now, for this one, I had added some hibiscus. So I went ahead and boiled some hibiscus and put in here. Now, so this was in my refrigerator. When I thought about what is some anti-inflammatory things, I was like, I put turmeric. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. So I went on to, with the anti-inflammatory, I had already boiled turmeric in here. But I was like, I don't know if it's enough. So what I did is I pulled this out of the refrigerator. I put it into my pot. I boiled the water, stuck the glass down into the water, heated it up, only to almost like a room temperature, not hot, because turmeric responds not to heavy heat, but to a mild heat. I didn't know if anyone knows that. Turmeric responds to a mild heat where it needs to be warm, where you can just drink it. So I then took some turmeric powder, and about 2 or 3 teaspoons of it, and put it in here. I shook it up, but I also remember being told, because I studied a little bit under some apothecary. I've been trying to, learn some things, right, when it comes down to healing herbs and things like that. And that black pepper was a carrier for the turmeric, and carrier and helps with the absorption into the body to help with the inflammation. What did I do? I threw some black pepper in here too. Another thing is that you can put in here is some virgin coconut oil, which is a carrier also, right? But I didn't have any. I did have some virgin coconut oil because I use it for my oil pulling. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm also going to talk about that on my channel, for my members. I know I've been telling y'all that. I apologize I haven't gotten to it, but I am definitely going to do that this week. This week is done. We will be talking about oral health, how it falls into, how it carries into your actual health, okay? But I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But this is the tea, right? So I'm getting ready to have some of this tea. Now, the testimony behind this tea is I drank this tea. The recommendation of drinking this tea would be before bed, about an hour before you go to sleep, or first thing in the morning. For me, this is not first thing in the morning, but this is the first thing that I'm going to be ingesting into my body. Hello, Michelle. How are you? This is what I'm going to be ingesting in my body. The first thing, right? I also put some lemons in there, so I'm going to show y'all that. I got lemons in there, and I squeezed a little lemon juice in there, okay? And that's just for my own purposes. So I'm going to have some of this, but you can see the settlement at the bottom. And I'm going to tell you, everything doesn't have to taste, okay, so let me tell you this. Everything doesn't have to taste delicious in order for it to be good for you. Most times, things that don't taste that great is usually the best things for you, just so you know. But with that being said, to me, this is acquired taste, and it tastes delicious to me, right? But it's an acquired taste. Now, I woke up this rising. I told you I went to bed all week. I've been having this issue with my legs, so I'm getting ready to stand up for y'all, all right? So y'all can see, all right? So I'm here. Y'all just stood up, no issues. I'm not limping. I got this going. Y'all see me, right? No, nothing. Nothing's hurting. Feel me? I'm moving. I'm doing it all. Okay? This is after drinking that tea last night. It reduced the inflammation, just as if you were taking acetaminophen, I think it is, a Tylenol, I think, or ibuprofen, supposed to pull the inflammation out of your body. This is nature's ibuprofen right here. This is nature's ibuprofen right here. Turmeric is the key, right? So I'm just going to show you again. I can do it all. I can bend and stretch. Stuff that I was not able to do. The reason I did not do Movement Mondays, okay? Understand that. So I decided I'm going to do it again this rising. I'm going to go ahead and drink this tea. I'm showing you this to say, I'm showing this to you to say that making conscious changes in your lifestyle, little changes, can make all the difference in the world. Inflammation in the body is probably one of the factors that cause most dis-ease. And that dis-ease that you have in your body can be alleviated with anti-inflammatory foods. On my channel, I do have, it's an old video. I'm going to tell you the name of it right now. I want you to go in there and check it out. I think it was a live. And like I said, it's an older video where you, and I'll attach it to the end of this video too, but just if you want to go take a look at it, it's going to tell you about all the anti-inflammatory foods that it is, including the turmeric. Another anti-inflammatory food, which I eat quite a bit of, and y'all know I love, is avocados. That's another one that's an anti-inflammatory factor. Let's see here. Let's go to Queen's Alchemy. Let's go here. And it's old. When I say it's old, it's probably something that I did back when I first started my channel. About anti-inflammatory foods. I might have moved it over to my, did I move it over? I might have moved it over to my membership, y'all. I don't know if I did though. Let me see, hold on. Anti-inflammatory foods. This like 9 months ago, and I still don't see it. Oh, right here. let's talk inflammation, natural. Let me see. And welcome to my live today. I'm so glad you came to join me. There I am. And it's called Let's Talk the Benefits of Anti-Inflammatory and away from Foods. Let's talk about the benefits of anti-inflammatory foods. Make sure y'all tap into that, okay? That is definitely something that you want to see if you want to know about how to relieve inflammation out your body. I mean, I could easily talk about it again here, right? But why talk about it here where I've already spent 50 minutes going into something that is not, directly impacting that. But I just wanted to share with y'all where I'm at, why I haven't been moving. I didn't move this Monday, why I'm not on the scale today, and I wanted to share and be transparent with you where I'm at in my journey. And so right now, I'm going to be going into another phase. And I've decided that as much as transparency that I'm giving to you, I'm going to share after the fact. Okay. So I'm going to do it and then I'll share with you what I did. So that's how we're going to do this going forward. Do it, not tell you what I'm going to do, but do it and then share the results of what I did and tell you what I did. Okay. I will be back on the scale come next Tuesday. I plan to be back on the scale. So we're going to see what we look like. Again, it was a gain and I just didn't, the number didn't really faze me that much. And it didn't matter, right? So we're going to talk about where we at going forward. Again, it's not about the scale. It's about releasing all those things that no longer serve you and actually tapping into what it is that you need to do in order to overcome the food addiction that you may be struggling with, or overeating, or stress eating, or whatever it is that you're doing and why you're doing it. I know it feels good when you're doing it, but for me, I feel good when I'm doing it. At the moment, I'd be like, I'm just going to eat it, but I feel bad afterwards. So I don't like the feeling of the after effect. So I always think about the after effect before I do it. And most times, I will say most times, I don't even say sometimes, most times it'll stop me from doing that thing. But I'm getting ready to go heat this up just a little bit so I can tolerate it a little more, because it's about room temperature now, and just a little bit of warmth to it makes it a little bit tolerable. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that so I can finish this up. Other than that, y'all, this has been a great live. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the biggest compliment you can ever give me is and pay me is pay attention. So thank you for paying attention to what's going on over here on Queen's Alchemy. And I appreciate you being here. I want everybody to have a beautiful and wonderful Tuesday. And I'm going to say peace, love, and wellness. Y'all know over here on Queen's Alchemy, we don't just nourish the body. We nourish the mind, body, and spirit. Make sure y'all tapping in tomorrow. Hopefully this epiphany, y'all see me out here walking tomorrow. So tap in tomorrow with the walk and talk, working out Wednesdays. And then also on Thursday, we're going to be voting for the meals. And matter of fact, I don't know if we're going to vote. I think I've made a decision on what it is I want to prepare since we're coming into the holidays. So y'all know I go live every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Thursdays, we do a vote. I'm just going to come to you and we're going to talk about the meal that we're going to be preparing on Saturday. We still might have a vote. I like the vote. The vote is fun. But other than that, y'all have a beautiful day. Thank you for being here. Peace, love, and wellness.